manifestation occurs whenever you are good with and without something. Manifestation occurs whenever you are detached from whatever it may be that you want to happen. And that's why manifestation is so hard, because thinking positive thoughts, we're always told, think positively, do this, do that, but all of that effort actually separates you further from what you want to happen. So why is that? The reason you get separated more, there's like the space that is increased. The more effort that you put into something, the further that you're going to be pushed away from it most of the time. It's because we're putting a barrier. We're idolizing this certain state of being, or we're idolizing achieving this one thing whenever it's actually there right in front of us this whole time. Manifestation is like moving your arm. We're constantly manifesting. Me talking is a manifestation. Just blinking is a manifestation. Or is it? I think it is, because every single thing that happens in our life is a gift from God, if you want to call it that, a gift from the universe, a gift from source. Every single thing that happens is coming from the spiritual into the physical. So the reason that manifestation just doesn't work by just having positive thoughts is because whenever you try to force a positive thought, that's just that. You're forcing it. And whenever you force something, it's not authentic. It's you putting a barrier between you and what you want. If you're trying to force positive thinking, then you're not going to be positive thinking, because you're not actually living in the lifeline that you're a positive thinker. You're not putting yourself in that reality. And so the whole thing about being detached and making something work out through detachment is because without attachment, you have no fear, you have no doubt, you have no worries, because these are the things that block you from getting there. Even whenever you're forcing a positive emotion on yourself, forcing will actually reinforce to the subconscious the lacking of it. And if the subconscious is what ties you to the heavens, to God, to the higher power, to the universe, then you're not going to attain it. This world works very mysteriously, and everything is given to you in accordance with your frequency. Everything is given to you by the law of whatever your identity is, that is what you will receive. So if you're sitting here trying to force something, do all these visualization exercises, doing all these exercises that really just require a lot of work, then you're just going to push yourself further away from it. At the end of the day, what you believe to be most beneficial is going to be most beneficial. But with that, whatever is most beneficial, you'll know that it's beneficial because you don't need to worry about it anymore. So like, let's say you're practicing all of this. I'll just give my own experience. I was practicing so much for 2 months, visualizing, selling my stuff, selling all the things that I wanted to sell for my company. And I could not get it. I just couldn't get it done. For 2 months, I was trying to force positive thinking. I was doing visualization exercises. I was telling myself, I was doing affirmations saying, I got it, I'm going to have this. But nothing was working. It didn't work for 2 months. And I was about to say, you know what? I did say, I'm about to quit. I'm about to quit this and move on to something else, because obviously this isn't working for me. So I became fully detached. I became completely 100% detached from the outcome. I was just living presently. I was just doing the good customer service, doing what I usually do, but I wasn't worried about it. I wasn't worried about the outcome. But that's what so many people do whenever it comes to manifestation, and why manifestations won't work, and why you can't upgrade your life, because you're so worried about if you're going to upgrade your life or not. At some point, you need to realize that having a fear of failure, you are already facing that fear. If your biggest fear is failure, then you're already living in that fear. There's some point where you just need to learn how to drop it. And once you learn how to just drop it, go take a walk, live presently, you will be so much more powerful in your manifestations. And I think it said what did it say? In the book of Matthew, even in the Bible, it said something about don't fear about your food, water, just give all of your trust to me, the Lord. Like, don't worry about food, water. These are necessities, but even in the Bible, it was saying to not worry about that stuff. Because let's say that you're living in a good, situation. You have a good home, you have food and water. You're not going to worry about food and water if you have food and water. Therefore, you're going to continuously manifest an abundance of it. Take money, for example. If you live in a super big house and you have a lot of money, you're not going to worry about how much money you have, and you're just going to live in the abundance mindset of money because you're not worried about it. So this is why in the Bible it's so powerful, this quote, to ask and receive. If you simply ask something, have faith in it, forget everything else, forget that you even asked for it, just have it in the back of your head that you asked for it, then it will come. So back to my story, I asked for more sales, and I was struggling, I was trying to control, but nothing was working. And like I said, the reason it wasn't working is because I was trying to force everything. I was trying to make everything happen whenever really I just needed to have trust in God or source or the universe. I just needed to have trust, but I wasn't giving my trust to the higher power. I wasn't giving trust to anything except for myself. I was living purely in the mental plane. So I don't know if I said it earlier in this video, we have 3 planes of existence: the spiritual, the mental, and the physical. If you live purely in the mental plane, you're not going to achieve everything you want. You'll achieve some of it, but you're not going to achieve all of it. And this is because you are trying to force everything yourself rather than putting trust into the spiritual plane. The spiritual plane is the most powerful plane because that is where things are created, truly created. So whenever you ask for something, you are impressing onto the spiritual plane, I want this. Now ask and receive. Whenever you ask for something, you need to believe that you are going or already have received it. Therefore, you have nothing to worry about. And with that trust, you actually write into the stars, write it into the universe, write it into God, that you will receive it, and you will receive that. So whenever I was struggling, I was about to quit. And whenever I quit, I sold so many units. Like, I was the #1 salesman of the company for 2 months. And I'm still going up. Like, once I realized that you don't need to force everything, just living from the mental plane, then you're going to make so much more progress. Because if all you're doing is just trying, visualizing, positive thinking, all of these things that you're told that you need to practice, then you're not going to get there because you're purely living in the mental plane. You're not living in the spiritual plane, but the spiritual plane is the most powerful. That's where things are written in stone. That's where shit happens. That's where you are given everything that you desire. God gives you life. You don't give yourself life. God, the universe, source, whatever you want to call it, gives you life. It gives you everything that you have. You don't give yourself anything. What you do, you simply reflect that which the universe or God sees you to be, and therefore you are given that. That's why people are born into struggling households. They're born into a crime-ridden place, and that is what they identify themselves with. Therefore, they continue living lives to that regard. They continue living the same life that they grew up with because that's what their parents told them or not even their parents. That's what their peers, that's what society around them told them that life was going to be. But trust what I say. Trust God. If you ask, then you will receive, but only if you genuinely trust that it's going to happen. So like I was saying earlier, you need to ask yourself, am I idolizing that which I want? If you're idolizing it, then you're putting it above yourself. You need to live like God wants us to live, all as equal. Even different realities, different lifelines that you can live on, it's all equal. Because if you put something above yourself, then your subconscious is saying to the universe, I'm down here, this is up here. Therefore, the universe, God, it's not going to give you what you want. You're not going to receive it because you're putting that thing above you. So if you're putting something above yourself, then you're not doing what I said at the start of this video. You're not being good with or without something, and that is the point of everything. You need to be good with and without something. If you want something to materialize, you need to be fine if it doesn't work out, because like I said, God does not label things as one way or another. That is a human construct, and if you want to control your reality, you need to break away from the human construct of positive, negative, bad, good, whatever. You need to break away from this construct, because as you label things, you are going to start identifying yourself with those things, and you're going to start aligning your frequency with those things. And God gives you everything that is aligned with your frequency. So that is the importance of asking and receiving. If you simply ask, trust that it's going to happen, drop all fears, drop all doubts, drop all worries, then it will happen. And if you believe that you have it right now, that's even more powerful. If you believe it's going to happen in the future and have no fears or doubts or worries, and that's good, but you're still telling the universe subconsciously that it's going to be a future thing. And if you believe that it's going to be happening in the future, then it's going to happen in the future. Maybe. Because time doesn't apply to manifestation. The best thing in your life could come right now, but it's only going to come if you're detached from it. Because trying to label things as positive or negative is only going to put it on a pedestal. It's going to put it outside of your frequency. And that is not how this works. You can't manifest anything that is outside of your frequency. Oh yeah. And I need to add in here that I learned a technique that really helps with everything I just talked about, really profoundly. And it's to divide your day into 3 different parts. The first one being pure intention, just intention, working towards your goal, only doing things presently, just presently living. And then the next one, it would be your thoughts, whether they be positive or negative, and then your emotions, whether they be positive or negative. Categorize your brain, the mental plane, into these 3 parts and watch yourself, because your thoughts and your emotions should not be positive or negative. They should be in neutrality. Because like I was saying earlier, if you are focusing on only having positive thoughts in order to attain your goal, then you're putting yourself further away from it. If you need to force positivity, then you are bringing yourself away from positivity. Because it's like forcing positivity reaffirms to the subconscious, which is in contact, which is in connection with the great infinite, the divine creative spirit, that you don't have it. It just reinforces that idea that you don't have it. So truly being positive means to be detached. So if true positivity means to be detached, then you need to realize the weight that asking and receiving, as it says in the Bible, simply ask and you shall receive. You need to understand the weight that carries. Because if you understand the weight that carries, you don't need to worry about positive or negative thoughts. You can be detached from outcomes without worry, because you know that you can ask and receive. It's as simple as that. But anyway, hope this helps. Stay tuned for more.